Well, a federal judge dealing a crushing blow to the Affordable Care Act, ruling it unconstitutional. But could the collapse of Obamacare help Democrats ignite a push for Medicare for all?
To provide health care to every man, woman, and child in this country.
It's a commitment to universal health care.
Good health care for every American is a right, not a privilege.
Here to debate it is Democratic political analyst Jason Nichols and former intelligence officer Don Bramer. Thank you both for joining us. Appreciate it this morning.
Good morning, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
So let's get started with this. Earlier we said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, he's vowing to intervene. We had Republican Susan Collins saying that she thinks the judge went too far. Don, I'll start with you. What do you think?
Well, this whole act has been a major disaster ever since it came out. You know, it has been too high for employers. It's been too high for people subscribing to it. And many companies have turned away it, forcing people to buy a plan they did not want. What we've seen in the last year since the tax cut was taken away is people have started to disenroll from the system, and enrollment has actually fallen by 11%.
Jason?
No, I would agree that there were problems with the ACA and that there need to be changes. And I believe that health care is a right. And I believe that most Americans, there was a poll that came out that 70% of Americans, even 52% of Republicans want universal health care. So Medicare for all, a single payer system makes sense for us.
So you think Democrats should push that would be a winning avenue for them as we head towards 2020?
Absolutely. I think that Americans seem to want it. It's actually going to save Americans money, and I think that it shows that healthcare is a right, and it'll keep people from losing farms and losing homes and all the medical debt that we see Americans in.
Well, let's listen to what the Health and Human Services Secretary had to say over the weekend. Alex Azar.
Well, you get Medicare competing there as an option, paying Medicare rates, which are much lower to hospitals and doctors than what private insurance pays. They won't be able to compete. It'll run them out of the marketplace. It'll be a single-payer system, one size fits all for every American, and it'll undermine seniors' access to health care.
So he has a different take on it, Don.
Well, if you look at this, what I see from the very, very beginning is Medicare for all. That's a $32 trillion debt over 10 years. How are we going to pay for it? Also, if you look at this, seniors have a hard enough time standing in line for the care they get now. You add an entirely new demographic to that. That's going to make the lines longer, and people are just not going to be happy with this system. I think go back to a competitive system. Jason's right. Everyone deserves good health care. I think what we need to see here is that Congress as a whole comes together, sits down, and finds a solution to this. This has been a broken system from the beginning. It does need to be repaired. It is a right for everyone, but let's find a system that works across the board.
And affordable. And that's a valid question, though, Jason. Everybody talks about, in this perfect world, everybody gets this great free health care, but how do you pay for it?
So just by eliminating the administrative costs, we'll save somewhere between $400 and $500 billion a year. And in addition, when we look at this, and they've done studies on this in Vermont when they were experimenting with Medicare for all, is the fact that it will actually save Americans money. The average American spends $10,000 per year, average adult American, on health care costs. But if we raise taxes, it will cost every American family $10,000. So essentially, you're saving $10,000 for each American family. So, and not only that, companies like GM charge another $1,500 because they have to provide their employees with health care. So your consumer costs are going to be lower. It's actually a system that has worked in the entire industrialized world, and our system right now actually doesn't produce any better outcomes. People are living longer in other parts of the world.
Don, final word. Quick.
Well, I look at this. We do need a new system. However, we've got to find a system that is completely affordable across the board. Saving the government thousands doesn't stack up to trillions, and that's what I think we need to look at this, the long-term picture of this and how we move forward. Let's get Congress to sit down at the table, actually legislate, instead of going into the new Congress with a full agenda of investigations.
Yeah. All right. Thank you both for joining us. We appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Heather.
We'll see what happens. Well, the time now is about 20 minutes until the time.